going to see you back there. Come over. I need to keep an eye on all of my students. Gather round. Fill in over here, please. Don't loiter in the back. I see you. Okay, class. Time for a little history lesson. Now pay close attention because there's going to be a quiz at the end, and there's nothing I like better than giving quizzes. My name is Catherine Strehle, but most folks call me Miss Kitty. You've probably already guessed that I was a school teacher. Well, you'd be correct. I was born and raised in Gretna, but I was educated in New Orleans. And after I attended the old girls' high school on Chestnut Street and took some summer courses at Tulane University, I started on my lifelong career in teaching at the tender age of only 16. My first job was in the First Ward, McDonoughville, and boy, was it a caution. I had a little 2-room schoolhouse with 65 pupils who were all at different grade levels. I had to teach them everything from their ABCs through 5th grade work. Well, I put the boys in one room and the girls in the other, and I sat in the open doorway between them. I have to say, it was kind of scary. Some of those boys were older than I was. They were bigger, too, and had that bully look. And goodness gracious, did I run into trouble. When I first started teaching grammar, I got opposition from everyone, parents and pupils alike. They would say to me, "Our ma liked the way we talk now." But I think I finally won them over because I taught the boys and girls of Gretna and McDonoughville for the next 57 years, which amounted to educating hundreds of Gretna residents. Now, the last 32 of those years, I taught the 1st grade only, but I also, off campus, taught piano on my front porch. Well, maybe not my front porch; that was in the house. And I gathered my nieces and nephews before they started 1st grade on my back porch and taught them how to read too. But all good things must come to an end. And at the age of 76, I traded in my Gretna Primary No. 2 1st graders for a chair and a book under a big China ball tree at my house. Did I mention my house yet? No. My father built it at 201 Lafayette Street. My father was Claudius Strehle. He was a German tailor who came to America in 1832 and settled in New Orleans. And then my mother, Katharina, joined him 6 years later. And then in 1840, the two of them took my 2 eldest siblings and they ferried over from New Orleans and relocated in Gretna. They bought a huge plot of property further down on Lafayette Street, and that's where Papa built the Creole Cottage in 1845. It's called the Kitty Strehle House now, named after me because I was the youngest of the 9 children, so I was the last of us to live there. But that plot of land was so big that my brother built the Ignatius Strehle House on it, and later a portion of it was sold to the David Crockett Fire Company, and they built the firehouse there too. But I digress. When I finally retired in 1935, I was the oldest Gretna teacher. Everyone was so kind to me. They hosted a huge banquet in my honor at Crockett Hall, and even Mayor Charles Gelby came and spoke at it. I was so proud. I had tears in my eyes as I was surrounded by my former students, all grown men and women now. I smiled as I recalled some of the names of those who became prominent in professional and public life. I remember one in particular who came to mind was Fred A. Middleton. He was an attorney, but I remembered the day that Fred proved himself to be a good speller. The school superintendent came around with a visitor, and he told me, "I've been visiting schools all day, and I've been asking the students everywhere to spell the word apostrophe, but so far no one could do it." And I looked at Fred and said, "Okay, Fred, you spell it." And he did. And the superintendent told him, "My little man, at last I found a smart boy." Another of my 1st graders became a U.S. representative. Remember Hale Boggs? Yeah. He was mine too. He was the youngest member of the Warren Commission that investigated the Kennedy assassination in 1963. Sadly, though, he vanished in a plane over Alaska in 1972. Well, after I retired, I spent a lot of time on my front porch in my rocking chair. I so enjoyed chatting with the passers-by, and it kept me out of the house and away from housework, which I absolutely detested. Like some of you, I'm supposing. But did I adore shopping? I used to love to go down to Front Street. Now I know it's nothing like the big malls you have these days, but I sure enough got my share of what you youngsters today call retail therapy. Unfortunately, only 4 years after I retired, I fell on my front steps and fractured my leg. And after a month at Mercy Hospital, I passed away. That was in 1939. I was 81 years old, and that's when my address changed permanently to right here. My teaching days were definitely over, but I was so proud to learn that in 1967, the Catherine Strehle Elementary School opened in Avondale with 23 classrooms and an air-conditioned library. Does that not beat all? Oh my, look at the time. It's time for the quiz. Ready?
Yes.
Okay, number 1. I was called Miss Kitty, but what was my real name?
Catherine.
Hands raised, please. No shouting out the hands. Anyone? Yes?
Catherine.
Very good, young man. You came up with that all by yourself, huh? Number 2. In what year did my mother join my father in America? Careful now, this one requires a little math.
1935?
No, that was when I retired.
That's
sir.
when you retired.
Hopefully he came before that.
1845.
I was closer, but what? No, what? Not one of you was paying attention. It's a good thing I don't have any corners out here and have to make you all stand.
Yeah, but we just had wine.
And you had wine before school.
We could do that these days.
Only in Louisiana.
Yes.
Okay, I will help out. 1832 plus 6 years is?
1838.
Hands, please.
1838.
Very good, young lady. I applaud your computation skills, if not your memory. Okay, I can see some of us are getting a little squirmy, and we're all freezing our tookuses off. So let's stop here. And are we ready for a little recess?
Yes.
Okay, then class dismissed.
Thank you. And this is Miss Cheryl Amaker. She is a board member of the Gretna Historical Society. And this is her 3rd time acting in the cemetery tour and does a wonderful job.
Yes.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.